What's up YouTube, Car Boss here, back in another video where we talk cars, money, investing, and today we're going to talk about a company that has made a number of headlines in the past couple of years and also in recent times as well. And that company is none other than PWCC, right? So in this video, I'm going to talk about my own personal experience with PWCC, how it actually transformed my business, and also at some point, and in fact more than once, did some nasty stuff to my business. So stick around. Alright, so for those who are not familiar with PWCC, they are one of the earlier pioneers of the voting service, and what that meant is basically you keep your cars with them, they keep it safe, they keep it insured, and you have digital copies of the cars that you own. Now, of course, the vault isn't just for storage, it also offers the ability for you to, back then, to list cars on eBay through the PWCC platform, which was great, right? So, but of course, there was a lot of pushback on that particular service because in the US, cars are actually meant to be collected, so to hold your cars, to look at it, take it out and then share with your friends, to trade it, bring it to shows and things like that. So having a car stored in vault didn't quite make sense to a lot of people, and so therefore, it didn't really kick off as what it was intended, except for people who decided to keep some of the really high-end stuff in a safe place, and that's the the theory of the vault. But for a person like myself, right, so operating from Malaysia, this was kind of a revolutionary service for us, right? So in the past, I would have to take possession of inventory, so I could get cars shipped from the US into Malaysia, which of course exposes into logistics, time, cost, customs, taxes, and all those kind of things. So having a service like PWCC kind of like cuts away all the inefficiencies, which meant that I could have cars shipped to the vault from the sellers in the US instead of sending to overseas, which again, at a point in time, there was a lot of US sellers who was not willing to send overseas. So you could ship it to the vault in Oregon, and from there I could actually to resell the cars back on eBay. So this was kind of like something that really transformed my business, right? Really, from then on, it really took off, because previously, like I said, I had to have the car shipped here, and then I had to have the car shipped back into the US where I purchased it. Of course, there's all these costs in between. There were some sellers who was not willing to send overseas the cars to me, and there's some buyers who are actually not willing to buy cars from overseas international sellers like myself. So having PWCC in the middle and the ability to list on eBay really was a game changer for me. That of course changed in somewhere in 2021 due to this. Now, whether the allegations of shield bidding is true or not, no, it's anybody's guess, right? Only people within eBay would know whether or not these stories are true. But of course, there are also stories about PWCC. It already had intentions to set up their own marketplace, which meant it was going to be in direct competition with eBay, and perhaps eBay wasn't having any of that, and therefore decided to cut away PWCC and just use the shield bidding as an excuse. But again, commercially, it doesn't make quite sense to me, right? It's still revenue till the day you actually stop, right? So I wouldn't see why eBay, a company with that kind of size, would do such a thing. So again, the reasons for this particular exit by PWCC from the eBay platform is entirely unsure to me, but what I do know is actually created a lot of problems for myself, because at that point in time, like I said previously, I'm using the PWCC vault pretty heavily in terms of having a lot of inventory there. So at that point in time, I had about like $45,000 of inventory with PWCC operating through there, and then sending through out to my customers in eBay, and that suddenly the tap just stopped, right? The gate just closed on me, and kind of get stuck, right? Of course, all PWCC vault clients were informed of the situation, and they were informed that there was going to be a marketplace being set up. We could still sell through fixed price listings through their platform, but as we all know, the amount of visibility on the PWCC platform at that time was far different from what you have on eBay. So a decision had to be made on what I was going to do next. I clearly remember this was roughly around July, August of 2021, and they said that it's going to set up a new marketplace around in September, October, which is just a couple of months away. But knowing again how many eyeballs are there in a marketplace that you just set up, it's going to be way lesser than what you have on eBay. And of course that would mean that prices, likely closing prices, will not be as strong as what you get on eBay, because the number of people are watching are definitely much fewer. So made the big decision to bring home all my inventory back to Malaysia. Now, of course, this was an expensive endeavor. It was a risky endeavor as well, to have $40,000 of inventory coming back all at one go. And I decided to split it up into multiple shipments just to be safe. But again, it was a big thing for me to have everything back. And once I got everything back around just before Christmas, I think by around November, I got everything back, because it takes about a month plus to get all the things back home. I started to release all the things back on eBay through my own eBay account, but again faced the similar challenges that I did initially, whereby some customers are not willing to pay the expensive shipping to have cards shipped from Malaysia, as well as not buying from international sellers itself. So from coming back to square one in a sense, so PWCC really did transform my business, but it took a huge step back through because of this particular incident with eBay. Now, of course, fast forward a couple of months later, they got their marketplace up and running, and they were building their traction, getting more stuff, more inventory. And that's when I received another email from PWCC basically asking me to come back. Now, definitely I was hesitant, right, to really come back on a platform after just removing all my inventory there, spending the time and the money to get all the stuff back, to release back. But again, I knew that there was going to be a lot more opportunity to operate through PWCC, because like I said, the service that they have, the ability to be based out of in the US, right, it's just a big plus, for a person like myself who actually sitting on the other side of the planet. But there are definitely a lot of US buyers, potential US buyers, who are not willing to pay international shipping, or in fact take the risk of buying a card from international sellers, regardless of how much feedback you would have, because just worry about the safety of the cards itself in transit. So I decided to head back to PWCC, right, to give them another go. Put a couple of cards there. Having direct purchases shipped to PWCC directly instead of sending back to Malaysia. So from 10 cards to 20 cards, and went up to like 30 and 40 cards. And but in a couple of months' time, I had like maybe about like $20,000 of inventory sitting there already. And things were getting there, right? So I was still able to fulfill orders via PWCC. And then later on, I decided to move more of my inventory back from Malaysia, because I realized that the stuff that I had back here in Malaysia were not moving as fast as the ones that I had in Oregon. So again, the logistics shipping of having to move everything back into the vault, which was fine, but again, it's at a cost on top of all the costs that I have on those cards, right? Now, when everything went back in, things were pretty smooth, I would say, in around 2022, mid 2022, coming to early 2023. Things were pretty doing all right. So, and that's when all of a sudden there was the news of this. Now at this point, I kind of like have close to $100,000 and $120,000 worth of inventory PWCC, right? So it was didn't expect what was going to be different, because this was a lot of internal reorganization, internal restructuring. But soon, not long after the news broke, right, I then found out how big of impact that these layoffs actually affected my own business, because the fulfillment times, previously it was between 2 to 3 business days, was increased to between 7 to 14 business days. So what that meant was, if I were to sell a car on eBay, right, so there's like a 3 to 4 day handling time, which you normally set, and you normally were able to provide your tracking number to your customers, right, within the 4th day or sometimes the 5th day. So depending on the handling time that you set, 1 to 3 days is kind of like the norm. Maybe 4 days is slightly a bit more, but definitely you don't want to go beyond that. But right now, with the layoffs in PWCC and supposedly the lack of people, the fulfillment times will automatically increase to at least 10 days, which was a complete disaster on my end, right? So before the news broke out, already there was already a lot of adjustment in the back end. I really had some pending sales that was already completed in terms of the customers that already paid me money, but they haven't been fulfilled. And I kept on checking PWCC, when will this go out, and then there was actually we can't do it, it's going to be 10 days, 14 days, and eventually, of course, from a customer say, hey, it's getting too long, where are my cards? And no choice, had to offer a refund on a lot of these businesses, a lot of these sales that are closed, right? So it was an issue, right? A huge issue on my end. So one of the alternatives that I had to do was to update my handling times, to become 10 business days, which was absurd, right, to think about it. And of course, I had to be a huge description in all my posts, in all my listings, to mention that due to I'm operating on PWCC, they're going through this staff layoffs. It's kind of like big news everywhere, and there will be a delay in shipping time. So if you still would like to buy the car, you got to take note of this delayed shipping times. So again, that severely impacted my business. And throughout this period, I've been in constant communication with PWCC on how when things are getting back on track. Nobody knows when. So it was extremely frustrating, to the point that even though I adjusted the handling times in order so that I don't get penalized by eBay, but that took a big hit to my business again. So thanks for a second time, PWCC. So and therefore, again, I was faced on a crossroads to whether or not to have to recall my inventory for the second time back from PWCC. And the answer was yes. I had to recall them back. I was not getting any business at all. 10 business days handling time, and that was not even guaranteed, right? The PWCC at some point went up to 14 days before to get one card fulfilled, which was a nightmare, right? And I lost some money in refunds, so much time that was wasted, and I decided to bring everything back for the second time in 2023. So I had $100,000 of inventory that was lined up to come back, and of course I had another huge vault, approach me and said, hey, would you like to vault with us instead? And then we know what's going on with PWCC, and we can actually do a lot better and offer better fulfillment times and things like that. So I did mull that decision for a while and decided to test the service of that particular vault, the fulfillment side of that vault, to see how efficient it was. It wasn't any better than PWCC, right? I mean, it's not 10 business days, but it's still not 3 business days. So I just decided to have everything come back for the second time. So I had all my inventory come back from PWCC back again to Malaysia, and restart the whole process again, from 18 months prior. And lo and behold, the announcement of Fanatics acquiring PWCC, revamping processes, and supposedly things got a lot better. And just once again, PWCC decided to write back to me and says, hey, would you like to come back again? And I said, come on guys, don't do this to me, right? So, they know who I am, right? And they know how I operate and why they are an instrumental part of my business. But those are earlier 2 factors, right? The eBay one, and also with layoffs, right? Something that I wouldn't say is out of control, but it's an business environment change, right? So it was definitely really another, slap in the face. It's like, come on, right? So what are you guys doing? So, but of course, this time around, with Fanatics backing up PWCC, that things are different. I got a relationship manager to actually explain to me what's going on. Say, look, we want you to be on board, and we're willing to help you out. We're going to give you some commitment and fulfillment times, and also some sort of incentives in terms of getting the fulfillment fees waived and stuff like that. So, saying the right things, to try and get me back in. And of course, I have to, again, to weigh the pros and the cons of having to work exclusively from Malaysia or to work on a hybrid with PWCC back again, like how it used to be. And of course, again, my business was doing pretty well with PWCC as a working partner, and it was not doing so well when it's not, right? For all of obvious reasons that I mentioned to you earlier. So once again, for the very third time, this sounds like a bad breakup, and coming back together again and breaking up again and going back again. So I decided to go back to PWCC, and right now, fast forward, right now we're at the end of 2023, early 2024. It's been like 8 months or 7 or 8 months, from the layoffs and Fanatics takeover. I had my inventory back to Malaysia again, and then back to them again. Just recently, a large order back to them just before Christmas. So hopefully things are smooth for the time being, right? I'm pleased to say that I'm very happy to work with the team in PWCC. They are definitely they transformed their business back in 2020, and of course they took me on a nice roller coaster ride throughout this period. But again, in contrary to some of what people say about their service, say something about their platform, say about the fulfillment times. Yes, they are not perfect, right? So, but definitely it's an important tool to my business. I would assume that any international sellers would like to go the same route of what I'm doing would definitely look into a tool like this. Definitely, it's a game changer for your business, and that's my recommendation. That's my takeaway to share with you guys on this video. For those guys who are based in the US who know to just rather keep the cards in your home, in your closet, I do not blame you at all, right? So this is just a huge boon for international sellers like myself. But for your case, PWCC weekly auctions, to me, it's still a great place to buy cards. I love buying cards from the weekly auctions. So one thing compared to eBay is, no doubt, there's lots and lots of inventory on eBay to choose from. There's 24/7, right? At any one point in time, there's like 800,000 cards that you can actually buy, and this is just for basketball, right? Not for all sports, just for basketball cards. 800,000 cards at any point in time. Whereas PWCC, having it into scheduled auctions, weekly auctions, of maybe about like 500 to 2,000 cards at any point in time. It kind of like gives you a nice schedule for you to work on. As opposed to eBay, constantly you need to be updated and things like that. So whatever that works for you. So I wouldn't say that what PWCC is doing is not right. I enjoy the format of the weekly auctions, and definitely it is a good place to pick up cards and also to sell cards as well. So you can call me an advocate of PWCC because it's an important tool to me, and it's an important resource to me as well. Just as important as eBay is, right? So I do most of my selling on eBay. So that's basically my little background story on PWCC, and how over the course of these years, I went on this huge relationship roller coaster at PWCC. So hope you enjoyed the story. Do like, subscribe, follow my channel for future stories like this. Thanks for watching, guys. Till the next one. Cowboys out.